We have both parties as well as their respective attorneys, Mr. Conroy representing Ms. Haring, and Mr. Browning representing Mr. Haring. After discussion with counsel, it's my understanding that the parties have reached an agreement on some of the issue in this case. Mr. Conroy, would you like to place on the record what those issues of agreement are?
I think I can, Judge. One would be that the parties agreed to sell the house, split the proceeds after payment of bills associated with the house. And secondly, I think they agree that once suitable arrangements are made for living with Anaya, the defendant can request, at some point, overnight visitation, but in the meantime, visitation would be limited to what it is now. My client, I don't think the parties are in agreement about child support now, simply because there's other issues that affect payment of money. So I believe those are the two things, if I'm not misunderstood. Jonathan, is that correct?
I think that we had one quibble with what you just said. I was not under the impression that my client would need to request, like as in to file a new motion once he obtained suitable housing. He has his weekend parenting time now, but my understanding was that the only issue with it was that he didn't have a second bedroom for the daughter, and once he had it, then he could have his weekend parenting time.
I don't have a problem with that.
She doesn't have any problem with that.
Thank you.
And Jonathan, can you lean back more, because we're catching you at about the chin? Down.
Well, Mr. Conroy, Attorney Conroy, I'm on device number 3, so it's all awkward.
Fair enough.
My laptop failed. This big brick just completely died, and I had to consult staff to get a suitable charger. Now I'm on like an iPhone 7, so we're going low tech here.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Conroy, do you wish to waive opening statements, or do you wish to make one?
I think we made our opening statements in our various settlement conferences, Judge. I'd waive.
Mr. Browning?
No problem, Your Honor. I will waive too.
Okay. All right, Mr. Conroy, first witness.
I would call Magdalena Haring.
All right. Ma'am, would you raise your right hand? Would you state your name for the record and spell it?
Magdalena Haring, Magdaleana, last name Herring.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Conroy.
Your Honor, Exhibit 1 is a list of expenses that have been provided to the court and to counsel, and I'd ask my client to look at Exhibit 1, a handwritten list of expenses.
So you want me to?
Just take a look at it.
Yes. Okay.
And look at it from top to bottom. And look at the total. As you review that Exhibit 1, are those expenses for your home accurate?
Yes.
Do they reflect the expenses of you and your daughter, Anaya?
Yes.
Does the total amount, what is the total amount on your list of expenses?
$5,359 a month.
And does that exceed your income?
Yes.
And how are you paying for other things as time has gone on, if you don't have enough money from your paycheck?
I'm maxing out my credit cards.
Okay. And you have some credit card debt right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I move for admission of Exhibit 1 as a list of expenses, unless there's voir dire.
Mr. Browning?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, it's admitted.
Thank you, Judge. You indicated you had some credit card debt. Let's talk about that right now, if we can, Magdalena. Correct?
Yes.
You have not only credit card debt, but I believe some loans. Why don't you explain briefly for the judge the debt you currently have on credit cards?
On credit cards, I have been using my my Lake Michigan credit card to help pay for some of my bills. Because I'm living from paycheck to paycheck. I'm getting shut off notices and things like that. And then I also have, I had to take a loan out from my 401k to pay for a new furnace because the furnace went out. And then I have my Apple card as well. I've been using to actually pay for the mortgage sometimes. I don't have the money for that because I have to pay the shut off notices before I pay the mortgage.
So how much is the balance currently on your Lake Michigan Credit Union?
$5,000. I maxed it out.
You maxed it out.
Yes,
And
sir.
then you said Apple Card, do you know what the balance is on that?
$2,188.
And then is there any other cards that you've used in it? So for what purpose?
Bank of America, and that's also $1,149.
$1,150?
Yes,
And what was that used for?
that was also used to help me pay a couple of my shut off notices and my mortgage.
Okay. Do you have other credit cards? Not talking about any loans against your retirement account, but do you have other credit cards besides the three you just mentioned?
No, sir.
Okay. And then there's a loan you said for $5,000 against your retirement account?
Yes,
And that was for what?
the furnace.
And I think we have as exhibit 2, a statement from Jacobson Heating and Cooling.
Yes, sir.
And I think there's 2 of them, which I'll ask the court, there should be 2 pages. Invoices from Jacobson Heating and Cooling, if we can call them both. Exhibit 2, we will, Your Honor. There's about 4 pages down in the stack.
It looks like one is dated June 28th of 2023,
Correct?
and the other one is June 1st of 2023.
Correct. And those are loans made for the furnace?
Yes, sir.
And have you paid them off yet?
No.
Okay, you still have a balance on those?
Yes, sir. They take it out of my paycheck.
And do you know how much they take out? That would be on your paycheck stub, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember how much they take out about?
It's about 100 and something each paycheck.
Okay, so
Every
that's
2 weeks.
slowly paying it off,
Yes, yes, sir.
every 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
I'll move for admission of exhibit 2, the Jacobson Heating and Cooling, 2 invoices.
Mr. Browning?
Okay, I think I finally found them. They were pretty far down, but I have one from Jacobson, 4,537, and the next 106. Are those
Yeah.
the ones?
Yes.
All right. Yes, no objection.
Just to clarify for the record, it looks like the total was 5,000, or I'm sorry, 4,095. Mr. Browning, you're looking at the subtotal on that one, $4,537.39 is a subtotal. After tax, it was 4,595.
Yes.
You're nodding your
that's-
head, yes. I want to make sure we're looking at the same document.
Yes.
Right, well, yeah, yes, Your Honor.
So
Okay.
we misspoke in terms of 5,000. It's actually $4,701. Move for admission, and I think no objection, did I hear? I'm sorry.
Mr. Browning, just to clarify, any objection?
To the Jacobson, no.
Okay, it's a minute.
Exhibit number 3, I'd like to show, which is Plaintiff's Walmart W-2 for 2024. Ask you to review that. Do you recognize it?
Yes.
Is it your W-2?
Yes.
And it indicates $46,602.53 as your income for 2024?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Thank you. Move for admission of exhibit 3.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, it's admitted.
And then exhibit number 4, I'd like to show you is I know it's a 2023 W-2. And and that's of Jermaine Haring, correct?
Yes.
And that shows he made in 2023, how much money?
He made $8,826.13.
Is that at the time at all during when he claims he was disabled?
Yes,
We would move for the admission of this exhibit just to show money was earned in 2023 by defendant.
Mr. Browning,
No objection.
it's admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, counsel. Then as far as your, the money you receive goes, you do get food stamps,
Yes,
is that
sir.
correct? And did you say yes?
yes,
And my understanding is exhibit number 5 will be a 2-page document from the state of Michigan DHHS.
yes.
And that shows that as of March, you receive how much in food stamps?
215 a month.
Okay. And does that amount change sometimes? You said?
Yes, sometimes, when my pay goes down, they go by month. Sometimes they'll give me just a little bit more.
But the 215.
215 is mostly accurate, yes.
Okay. Move for an admission of exhibit 5 for the court's consideration.
Mr. Browning,
No objection.
it's admitted.
I don't, let me show exhibit 6 has a on the top of it indicates Walmart Inc. loan information at the very top. And I'd like my client to look at exhibit 6. Do you recognize that document from Walmart?
Yes,
Is that a statement of your loan dated in June of 23 when you took it out for the furnace?
yes, sir.
And it shows that you're gonna pay a total of how much over time?
$6,254.30.
Are you current on those 130 payments?
Yes,
Okay. And you continue to make them?
yes,
Move for admission of exhibit 6, the loan for the furnace through her retirement at Walmart.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
Exhibit number 7, counsel and the court, is a statement of earnings and deductions. And I'd ask my client to take a look at exhibit number 7 that has your name in large font near the top left, correct?
yes.
And what does it say the pay period is for that?
11/30/2024 to 12/13 of 2024.
Okay. And that shows your earnings, your deductions and everything else,
Yes, sir.
correct? All right. Is the loan listed on that, on the right-hand side of the document?
Yes,
And that looks like you get $50 taken out every 2 weeks, 49.37? Is that right? General
yes,
401k
Yes.
loan? Okay, so it's $100 a month.
Yeah.
Thank you. Move for admission of exhibit 7, the statement of earnings and deductions for Magdalena Haring from May of 2024.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, it's admitted.
Just as a good faith offer, because this is the only one I gave to the court, I'll show you a summary of your plan for your retirement. However, it is dated what?
January 31st of 2024.
So it's a year old.
Yes,
What do you know right now the retirement balance to be now, not a year ago now?
45,000.
Right in that area?
Yes,
Could it be more than that?
no,
Okay, well, whatever it is, you understand, do you not, that you have to split half of this
yes,
with Jermaine?
yes,
And you're not gonna oppose that, and you'll sign the documents
Yes,
that
sir.
require you to do it.
yes, sir.
And we're just showing this to indicate to the court the balance as of a year ago.
Yes, sir.
We know it's more,
Yes,
right? Thank you. Move for admission of exhibit 8, the Walmart summary of retirement plan.
Any objection, Mr. Browning?
No, Your Honor.
It's admitted.
All right. When's the last time you had a raise?
2 years ago,
2022 or 3?
22.
Okay. Has there been a reason why you haven't gotten raises at Walmart?
Yes, I got a couple of write-ups. So when you have write-ups in the system for disciplinary actions, they do not give you a raise.
Okay. And part of those write-ups, are they related at all to you taking care of your mother?
Yes.
What, just briefly describe for the judge what you're required to do that might take you away from work and earning money.
I currently take care of my mom with dementia and Alzheimer's. She has bad days, she has good days. But I'm sorry. But I miss a lot of work because I have to leave work to attend to her when she has outbreaks. I've had also taken leaves from work as well. I had to because my mom would turn for the worse, and then I'd have to take off work unpaid to take care of her. I've already had 4 of those. So, you know, it's very stressful to take care of full-time, take care of a patient with dementia, and then also trying to work and provide at home. A part of my write-ups at work is because I wasn't mentally there to be able to succeed in my job and do what the duties that I needed to do as a team lead. It's been really really rough. So
Okay. You make 20, how much do you make an hour?
$23.22 an hour.
Okay. Do you get any big bonuses or quarterly bonuses or year-end bonuses at Walmart?
Yes, it depends on our sales at the store.
Okay. Do you remember what you got in 2024, or was it reported on your W-2?
It should be reported on my W-2.
Do you remember how much it was?
I say maybe 2,000, 3,000.
Yep. And you help your mother deal with Dr. Sisson, who wrote the letter that I provided to counsel, correct?
Yes.
And just for the record, I hope that the parties received the appraisal. I did not send the 29 pages, I sent 3. But maybe we can stipulate or don't need to, Judge. I just wanted there to be an acknowledgement that there was an appraisal done in June of last year. And you understand that, right?
Yes.
And whatever the house sells for, you understand you got to split the proceeds. Yes. And you're willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm not going to submit any evidence on the appraisal, Judge. Counsel has had it. We have an agreement. Tell me about the Cadillac that your husband has been driving. How did that get purchased?
I had 3 years worth of taxes saved up.
Tax refunds?
Tax refunds. And I only get like 5,000, 5,000 to 6,000 a year in taxes. And we had it saved up, and he took the 15,000 and he went and purchased the vehicle without my acknowledge or my permission. He just cleaned us out and took every savings that we were doing. So.
And that was in what year?
It was in 2019.
Oh, that was 5 years ago?
I think it was 2019 or 2020.
Okay. Near COVID, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was money taken by him, used for a car without talking to you?
Yes, sir.
And you're asking the court to consider crediting you with half of that amount?
Yes.
Okay. There was also something about the mortgage and payments on it and a furlough for it sometime around or during COVID. What do you remember about that?
So during COVID time, I was working a lot of hours. I wasn't taking care of my mother then because my mom didn't catch COVID just yet. So I was pushing a lot of hours. I was paying all the bills. So I was able to pay my mortgage. My husband came to me and said, hey, we should put our house on forbearance. And I said, why would we do that if I'm working and taking care of the mortgage and everything. And he said, oh, we don't have to pay the mortgage. And I told him, no, we're not doing that because I pay the mortgage and they're going to put it on the back of the loan. And he said that wasn't true, that we wouldn't just have to pay for it. So I told him, no, we're not doing that. And I felt like we came up with an agreement that we were not going to do it because I was paying for the mortgage. And then 7 months later,
Excuse me,
Okay.
before you go there,
all right,
how did you go about making these monthly payments?
I took it out of my bank account
How did it go into your bank account?
through my employer.
Direct deposit?
Yes, sir.
And then how much would you take out?
2,000.
And what would you do with that? Cash?
Yes, sir.
Provided how? Who would you give it to?
Jermaine.
To pay the mortgage?
Yes, sir.
Was it your understanding when you gave it to him? What was your understanding when you gave that 2,000 to him as far as how it would be used?
To pay the mortgage.
Okay. What did you find out later, if anything?
I found out 7 months later, the bank called me and said that they were trying to get a hold of Mr. Haring and his phone was out of service. They stated that they were just wondering if we wanted to extend our forbearance. And I said, sir, I don't know what you're talking about. I pay my mortgage every month. He got a supervisor on the phone and I was arguing with them because I was giving the $2,000 to Mr. Haring. And I left work early that day. I questioned Mr. Haring and he was very upset with me because I found out, and I asked him where the money was.
Objection.
Yes.
She's speculating as to why my client was upset and imputing a motivation on that.
Sorry.
Mr. Conroy?
I have no response.
Okay. I'll sustain.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so you can't talk about how he felt or what he was mad
I'm
about.
sorry.
What did you find out about the $14,000?
I found out that he was not paying the mortgage and he put the house on forbearance.
So it was on forbearance, which was okay with the bank as far as you knew,
Yes, sir.
because he had agreed to that.
Yes.
But the money you had been giving to him, what happened to that?
I don't know what he did with it.
And you'd like the judge to consider a credit of some kind for that.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other source of income?
No, sir.
What's your level of education?
I completed the 9th grade,
How old are you?
45.
Do you have any other special set of skills that you can use to go and get a better paying job?
No.
How long have you been with Walmart?
22 years.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part, Mr. Conroy. How long, what?
Have you been with Walmart?
With Walmart. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And you pay for health insurance, correct?
Yes, sir.
Does that cover your daughter, minor daughter, Anaya?
Yes.
And that totals about $80 a month? Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. We know that there's a lot of people living in the house, right? Correct?
Yes.
Okay, on Stanford.
Yes.
And on Stanford, your mother, your brother, your daughter, correct?
Yes.
Your brother's a disabled.
Yes.
Your mother, you're a representative payee for as
Yes,
well,
yes.
correct? Both of them.
Yes.
Do you take any of their money and mix it in with your own?
No, sir.
How do you pay for their stuff?
They each have their own debit card. So when I need to purchase anything for them, I purchase it with their card.
Okay, with their card.
Yes.
All right. And the expenses that you listed for the month were relative to you and Anaya,
Yes.
correct? Okay. There are also 2 minor nieces in your home.
Yes.
Do they receive money from the government?
No.
Okay. You are their appointed guardian?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How old are they?
Alexa is 13 and Alexis is 15.
They all get along with your daughter Anaya?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So those 3 are there. And then you have your children with Jermaine, your husband, Mr. Haring, that are adults, correct?
Yes, sir.
Name them, name their ages, tell us briefly what they're doing.
I have Joseph Haring, age 19. He's currently in school part-time, college, and he's also disabled. And then I have Aaliyah Haring. She is 22. She is also disabled and she's going to college part-time right now. And then I have Alasia Haring. Alasia Haring is 21 and she currently works part-time and she also goes to college part-time.
Do they all live in the home?
Yes,
Are they all part of the, and do they, it sounds like Joseph and Alea receive some money from the government as well?
yes,
And you're represented payee for them?
yes.
Okay, do you mix up their money with?
No.
Okay. Have you taken any FMLA to be home and take care of your mother or disabled family members?
Yes,
Do you remember when you've taken it?
yes, 2022, 2023, and 2024,
Did you take it one or two times last year? Do you know?
twice.
Is that for the full, that's not for the full 10 weeks. That's just for a period of
Yes.
time? How
Yes.
long?
Some of the leaves are for about 2 or 3 months. It's depending. Some of them are like 4 months.
You can usually only get 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's be 3 months, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who pays the bills for any expenses associated with your minor daughter, Anaya?
I do.
And tell the court, generally speaking, we put down $50 a month for Anaya's miscellaneous, I think, right?
Yes.
Is that accurate, or
Yes.
could it be more or less, or?
I do pay for her to do AAU, so I do pay that as well, but I didn't put that in there. So it's
AAU.
normally AAU basketball.
And is that all summer long?
Yes.
And does it go into the school year?
Yes.
Okay, how much does that cost?
$300
Total,
a month.
a month
Yeah.
for AAU basketball?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have any bills for that.
Right. I'm
now.
not, I didn't put
Okay.
that in there.
Okay. How about contributions towards the household expenses from Jermaine since prior to being disabled, when he was still working, like the $8,000 he made in 23? How much did he provide towards bill payment of in the house?
0.
Are you sure?
Yes.
When you say that, he's not paying anything towards utilities,
No.
towards food,
No.
towards
Anaya, no.
Anaya, towards the mortgage,
No.
towards cell phones,
No.
towards her car insurance?
No.
Is there any rent, or has there been any rent received at Stanford by you or Mr. Haring from all the various folks that are adults that live with you?
Yes.
Explain that.
My son, Willie, my son, Andre, my stepson, Jermaine Haring, and my nephew, Alex, all paid $400 a month to live in the household since we lived there in 2018.
So you moved into the house in 2018,
Yes.
and there were 4 different people paying $400 a month rent?
Yes, sir.
Who determined that rate?
Jermaine Haring.
And who collected the rent?
Jermaine Haring.
And did he actually collect rent from 2018 forward?
Yes.
Tell the judge for how long for each kid.
He collected it since 2018, since we lived there. Andre moved out in 2020. Mr. Jermaine Jr. moved out in 2021, and then Willie moved out in 2022. And then my nephew was still residing at the home.
And then what happened to that $400 a month from each of those renters?
Jermaine Haring pocketed it.
Did you ever see it contributed towards use in the household
No,
of any kind?
any kind.
Food,
0.
mortgage, utility, any bills?
Nothing.
So 2018, when did you guys move in 2018?
July 3rd of
So
2018.
you lived there 6 months, then you lived there all of 19,
Yes,
all of 20, somebody moved out in 20,
yes.
correct?
Yes,
And then somebody moved out in 21 and 22.
yes,
So the rent went down to 1,200 to 800 to 400.
yes.
Did he continue collecting until, was it Andre the nephew?
No, Alex.
Alex is the nephew. When did he move out?
He actually still lives there.
Okay, does he pay you rent?
Yes.
He now pays you rent,
Yeah, he pays me 300.
okay. But he
I'm
used
sorry, I
to
didn't
pay
hear that. She
Jermaine,
pays her what?
300.
and he's been paying you 300 since what, Jermaine moved out or
Yes,
what?
since Jermaine's been gone.
Which was when?
It was August of last year.
Okay. So paid Jermaine up until then,
Yes.
has paid you $300 a month since then.
Yes, sir.
And you've never seen any of that rent money from Jermaine.
No.
What's the hourly rate that you remember your husband ever making, if you do?
He was working for El Matador, so he was making approximately,
Is it the corn chip place? on
yes,
Matador, yeah?
yes, sir. He was making about 19.
$19 an hour.
Yes.
Do you believe you can afford to pay spousal support or alimony?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because I succeed on my bills right now. Just I'm living paycheck to paycheck to provide for my daughter and my 2 nieces and for myself and the bills that I have. And that's why I'm willing to sell the house, because I cannot afford the house as well.
I have no other questions.
Would you like to take proofs or did we already do that?
No, we did not. Take proofs now, Judge?
Yes, I think that's appropriate that we don't forget to do it.
Fair enough. You filed this divorce last year in the spring, correct?
Yes,
When you filed it, was everything true
yes,
that you put in it,
yes,
in the complaint?
yes,
Okay. And is it true now?
yes,
Were you a resident of the state of Michigan for 6 months and of the county of Kent for 10 days prior to filing this divorce?
yes,
And are you now pregnant?
no,
I don't know if there's anything else short of what we're gonna agree to, Judge.
Has there been a breakdown in the marriage relationship
sorry.
to the extent the objects of matrimony have been destroyed and there remains no reasonable likelihood the marriage can be preserved?
yes,
The most important question, thank you.
All right,
Okay. That's proofs, Judge.
okay. And are you resting at this point?
I would turn over my client for cross-examination. I
Okay.
don't know. Yeah, I don't have any other witnesses.
Okay, all right. Oh, you know what? I have one more question. How long have the two of you been married?
18 years.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Browning?
Thank you, Your Honor. Magdalena, did you ask Jermaine what he was doing with the rent money that he received from Willie, Andre, and 2 other people, as you testified he was receiving?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said, don't worry about it.
And for how long did that persist?
The time remaining that they were living in the household.
Okay. And what did you take "don't worry about it" to mean?
That he's not gonna give me any of the money. He told me he wasn't giving me any of the money.
So did he say you can't have any of this money or don't worry about it? Those are 2 very different things.
He said, don't worry about what he's doing with the money, and he's not giving me any of the money that the boys give him because he's not working.
Okay. You've testified that Joseph Haring lives with you. Is that your mutual child or only his?
Those are both of our children. Child,
Joseph and Aaliyah?
Joseph and Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, sorry. Now you've testified that Joseph is disabled and attending college.
Yes, part-time.
What is his disability?
He has cognitive disorder.
Okay. And Aaliyah Haring, also disabled and attending college.
Yes.
What is her disability?
She has learning disabilities. It just takes her a little bit longer to learn things.
Do they receive benefits for these disabilities?
Yes.
Okay. How long have they been receiving these benefits?
Joseph just got approved back in 2016, I believe. And then Aaliyah has been getting it since she was a child.
And in what amounts are they receiving these disability payments?
Joseph is receiving 800 and something, and Aaliyah as well.
800 each?
Yes.
Okay. And you still have one or two renters?
I'm sorry.
Back to the renters.
Oh, I just have one, Alex.
Alex remains, and he's paying 300?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So you testified that you were giving Jermaine money to pay the mortgage,
Yes, sir.
and you testified that was 2,000 monthly?
Yes, sir.
Now isn't your mortgage 1,600?
I have the modification papers. We modified the house in 2023.
From
Okay.
We just modified it. I believe it was in June of 2023. And that's why it went down. That's when it went down to 1,600.
How many personal bank accounts do you have just for yourself as opposed to any of the guardianships matters?
Just the Lake Michigan.
So you don't have a Bank of America bank account?
No, that's Joseph's.
Just Joseph's?
Representative payee, yes.
So have you ever had a Bank of America bank account
No,
at no time during your marriage?
no.
Okay. You've testified that you have credit card debt,
Yes.
and how much of that has been incurred since Jermaine moved out in August?
You said what now, sir? I'm sorry.
How much credit card debt has accumulated since Jermaine moved out in August?
I can't really give you the direct number, but I was already in debt before he even moved out. But I get like shut off notices, and I'm forced to be able to have to get my credit to be able to pay those bills. Or if I can't pay the mortgage that month, I take out the loan or take out the money to pay for the mortgage.
Okay. What kind of car do you drive?
A GMC Acadia.
What year is it?
2016.
Is it paid for?
Yes, I actually just paid it off.
Okay. And what funds were used to purchase that car?
I just got a loan. I didn't put no money down.
No money down?
No money down. Just got the loan.
Were you still married? You said you bought it in 2016 though?
No, I bought it in 2018. We bought the house, and then I purchased the vehicle.
Okay.
It's
And
a
then-
2016 vehicle. That's,
I understand. Okay. And then in 2019, your testimony is that Jermaine bought a Cadillac,
Yes,
and what funds did he use for that?
our savings.
So you had a joint bank account?
No, we did not.
You did not.
We did not.
So your savings was in a bank account with only his name on it, or?
No, we actually kept it in the house. It's $15,000 cash that we had in the house in our little safe.
Do you have a receipt for the Cadillac purchase with cash?
No, he does.
Okay. Did you have to file any tax paperwork for making such a large cash purchase?
It's the vehicle's not in my name. It's in his name.
Did you file your taxes jointly in 2019?
No,
No.
no.
When did Jermaine stop working?
June 28th, 2018.
Okay. So then subsequent to that, you were filing separately?
your
Yes,
tax returns.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So you testified that Jermaine suggested that you and he avail yourselves of a mortgage furlough?
Yes.
And how was your understanding that the mortgage furlough would function?
I didn't know anything about it. So,
Wasn't this, in your recollection, a COVID program essentially?
he brought that up to my attention. He said, hey, I was watching the news. They have given out this furlough forbearance thing for mortgage, and we won't have to pay our mortgage. And that's what he told me.
Okay. And so your testimony is that you believe he did take the furlough?
He did, yes.
Okay. Did he have bills that he paid for the household?
Yes, he was supposed to pay half of the bills. But
Okay.
he didn't pay anything.
Now, at what point did he not pay anything? Is that after he stopped working, or?
Since we lived in the household, sir, he quit his job in June 28th, 2018, before we bought the house, and I was unaware of him quitting the job a week prior to us signing for the mortgage. I would have never signed a mortgage with someone that quit their job, sir. He's supposed to be on vacation.
How long were you married to Jermaine?
18 years.
Okay. Okay. No further questions.
Your Honor, can I follow up with one question?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'll be brief. Did you have an understanding when he received disability that he was receiving back pay for going back to his original date?
Yes.
And how did you come to that understanding? Jermaine tell you, or you see the mail, or?
I seen the mail, and he has been waiting for for him to get approved for disability. So he does have like 40 grand coming back to him for back pay for disability.
And how do you know that number?
Because I briefly seen his paperwork that he had in his hand.
And do you have any of his paperwork now for Social Security?
No, he took it with him when he left the home.
Do you know Anaya's Social Security number?
No, he took her Social Security card from me before he left.
So you don't know her number, but you can get it.
I can get it off my tax papers. Yes.
I have nothing else.
Mr. Browning?
Yeah, some redirects. Miss Haring, when was the
You mean
last?
recross, right?
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you. Miss Haring, when was the last time that Jermaine Haring stepped foot in that home?
When he got the PPO granted
When?
It was August of last year.
Okay, so so you had a PPO against him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then was he there on perhaps a civil assist to grab his items, his personal items?
The police officers actually, what do you call it? My sister had gave him the paperwork and for him to have to leave. He refused to leave, so I had to call the police department and they served him. They served him the PPO papers and had him sign it, and they stayed there until he got all his stuff. So he got his paperwork and his clothes and he left.
So, okay, you kind of anticipated what I was getting at, I think.
I'm
So let me
sorry.
just unpack your, no, it's okay. Let me just unpack your answer. So you're saying that he got the social security card of your daughter and his social security paperwork from your sister prior to his civil assist?
No, he actually, before that, he actually took all of the social security cards, because I'm a neat person, so I have it all in a binder. So I have all like the birth certificates and social security cards and everything. So a couple months before he had to get removed from the house, he took it from me and would not give me the social security cards of every single child that I have.
But he was living with you, correct?
Correct.
And so then where could he keep all that if he was living with you?
He keeps it in his vehicle.
Okay. So he keeps all the social security cards of everybody's children in his vehicle?
Yes, he does. And has important papers from Social Security.
Do you have any idea why he moved them to his vehicle?
He's just always done that. He's always tried to keep private of all of his things. He just didn't want me to know anything, so he'd always just put it in his trunk.
So he'd always done that? It was
Yeah.
always his personal financial key paper?
He actually, he's never always done that. He's just, since our marriage has been rocky, he's been doing that for probably about the last year and a half.
Okay. So, was your testimony that the PPO was related to these items?
I'm sorry?
No, I'll withdraw the question. Did you at any time, through any means, request the return of your social security cards and your children's from Jermaine?
Before he got the PPO handed to him, yes. I've asked him for that, and he said that I can go to the Social Security office and go get my own copy.
Okay. No further questions.
I have nothing else, Judge. Plaintiff rests.
All right, thank you. Mr. Browning?
I would like to call Jermaine Haring.
Mr. Haring, would you unmute, please? And you're going to have to get a little bit closer, I think, to the phone or whatever device you're using.
Okay. Don't have no table or nothing, so I gotta put it on pillows.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that fine with there?
That is, I can hear you and I can see you, which is the two most important things. All right, would you raise your right hand? Would you state your name and spell it for the record?
Jermaine Clay Haring Sr. JERMAINE CLAYHERRING.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Browning?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Haring.
How you doing, sir?
I'm hanging in there. I'm on my third device.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, third string out here. Mr. Haring, are you disabled?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to work?
No, sir. Not at this time.
Okay, can you share with the court the nature of your disability?
I have a bad a narrow spinal cord, which is causing, and on top of that, there's bulging. I got some bulging discs, and uh, long story short, things come out of my spine. It oozes out because it's narrow and it's kind of tight. Uh, those particles and things push into my nerves, which
I
causes.
don't think we need a whole lot of description here. It just, if the government has found him disabled, I'm gonna take judicial notice of that.
Thank you, Your Honor. I was openly wincing myself. I really, good thing I'm not a physician. Okay, so basically, is it fair to say that you are in too much pain to hold a job right now?
Absolutely.
What sort of work did you do before you stopped working?
Forklift, factory work, shipping and receiving, construction.
Okay,
Yeah.
so physical labor.
Yes, sir. Hands on.
When did you stop working?
I started having back issues like real prominent, like I couldn't just brush it off around 2018 when we bought our house. But I still continued to work. I was making money. I didn't actually stop working until 2020 because it was the pandemic.
Okay,
So everybody jobs was was laying off and ending and whatnot. So
okay,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no problem. So your wife testified that you quit your job a week after buying the house. Is that your recollection?
No, sir. It's no way you can even buy a home without having a job. So I don't understand why she would say that. I had a job. It was a good job. Uh, we qualified for the home together.
Okay. Now, what kind of car do you drive?
My car is a 2016 Cadillac XTS. My wife's car is a 2018 uh, um, GMC. We bought
Okay,
her brand new, 5,000. I think it had 5,000 miles on it when she bought hers, so it was brand new.
okay. Now she's testified that you took 3 years of tax refunds in a savings and spent them on the Cadillac. Is that your recollection?
No, sir, not at all. There's no way I would do anything like that. Uh, it was just no. I had a car. I had a Chrysler 300. It was on the raggedy side, but right, I planned it to buy that car. I actually sold my old car to get the funds for this car. We didn't have any savings. If we had any savings, it was because that was the time, sir. That was before the pandemic, right?
Okay.
So we were actually fine. My back was just going into chaos. That was before we even moved in her family.
Okay. So what was the last job you held? Let me ask you this way. Where were you working when your job was shut down, presumably by COVID, as you kind of testified?
Well, I was in and out through my regular job at it's actually called Campbell's Soup. I was back and forth there. I was laid off for a while, but I was going back to there. That's why I didn't qualify for the COVID. I think people got money after that and whatnot. I didn't qualify because
Sure.
I didn't actually have but I was definitely working with the job. I had back issues. I didn't understand what they were. All I knew was every time I moved a certain way, I fall to the ground. It
Oh,
was really bad. So
okay. All right. Now, so you're saying that the Cadillac was financed with using the Chrysler money? So you sold the Chrysler?
Yes, sir. We didn't. We had a little savings, but I think our savings was like 3,000 at that time, and that was still there. That money never moved. I don't understand. I know she always thrown that. I don't know. I just don't know where she got that from.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the mortgage furlough. Did you and or Magdalena avail yourselves of the mortgage furlough program?
Yes.
Okay, and for how long did you avail yourselves of the mortgage furlough?
I'm so sorry. I had a phone call that chimed in. Yeah, these robocalls is crazy on my phone, so I'm surprised but anyway, yeah. First of all, sir, the furlough program, you both, that's not my home. Me and my wife name is on it, so we both have to be there to talk to these people and to agree to whatever furlough program there was. That was a
Okay,
joint thing. We both did that together.
so
Uh,
where,
and
okay, now you're saying that there was signatures required in person?
They had sent they had told us, yes, that there was definitely signatures involved because they had to send us over some paperwork that had to be signed. So
Okay,
she knew exactly when we went on the furlough, and she knew why we went on the furlough. My back was going out. I wasn't. I think at that time, I think I just had my first back surgery, so I already knew the situation that I was in. So that, I mean, I was trying to help my family. They had a furlough that would take some of the financial burden off of us.
okay.
I thought it was a no-brainer.
You mean because you said you already had your back problem, your back surgery?
Yes. We didn't get on the furlough, sir, until I think after the pandemic. The pandemic was in 2020.
Yeah.
We didn't get on the furlough, I believe, until 2021. And we stayed on the furlough until 2023. So we didn't pay no mortgage for 3.5 years.
Okay. And did your wife oppose you in the idea to be on the furlough?
No, sir, absolutely not. We both had to agree to it because we both had to sign to it. So I mean, that was definitely a joint decision. It was concerning our family. So I don't know why she want to pretend like that it was something that I did alone. That was, we're both on the lease, so we both gotta agree to that and sign to it. It was nothing that I can do on my own. I don't even think I can do it on my own. I'm not really sure, but they've always asked for both of us. We were both always there talking.
Okay. And she was testifying that she gave you money, $2,000 a month to pay the mortgage?
Absolutely not. I stopped paying the mortgage. Geez, I wish I had the paper when my Lake City, Michigan bank account ended because I wasn't working. I had no money coming in. And at that time, sir, like I said, I just had my first back surgery. And the first back surgery was the worst because it didn't give me no improvement. It actually made me worse. So I was pretty much bedridden. I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't go nowhere. She helped me bathe a couple times. So I couldn't go anywhere. So why would she give me money to go down and pay the mortgage? That don't even make sense. Everything when my back went out, that's everything financially went towards my wife.
Okay.
I was fine with it because I'm disabled at that time.
Were you in the same amount of pain as you are now?
I was extremely worse then, sir. Extremely worse. Now as you're looking at me 3 back surgeries later, where I do get some relief, right? If it's impossible for me to lift, anything. I can't stand for too long. I can't sit for too long. So it's still there. I was aware of the surgeries. He told me that they're not fixing the problem. They're just trying to get me some relief. So that's why my fourth surgery would be a fusion surgery with bolts and screws. Because I'm out of options. I have no other place to go. That would be my next surgery.
Okay. Now, what did you collect money from Willie, Andre, Alex, and one other person monthly at the home?
Um, like I said, before my back went out, from the time we purchased the home in 2018 to 2020, and that was before we moved in her family. So that's why, those are my oldest sons. All of those boys you are naming, sir, they got a family. Andre is finna get married. They got a child on the way. They got their own homes. They got good jobs, career jobs. My oldest son is a supervisor at the airport. So all
Okay.
of those boys done moved out, way before, even before COVID. All of those boys has moved out. The only person that was still there that was paying rent is Alex and her niece, and they pay it to her. Ever since in 2020, I received nothing from nobody. There was no point in me doing that. I can't even move at that time.
I see. Okay. Now, how much money was in the bank in your recollection in your joint account? All right, let me back up. Did you and Magdalena have a joint checking account, joint credit account?
No, we just had a understanding of, hey, I got this money, okay, fine. We're not going to touch that money. We just sit that to the side, or pretty much you keep it in your bank account. You just hold on to it there. We did not have a joint account.
Did you have any personal knowledge of how much money was in her account or accounts?
Are you saying back then in 2018, 2020?
I would say at the last point in time in which you lived with her would be what I'm most interested in.
Oh, then yes, I seen a couple bank statements, a couple receipts, um, uh, and this was after we moved in her family, because I only did that because, of course, as her family, we would want to help them as well.
Okay.
But they had more finances coming in with them. So around that time, she had about $75,000 to $80,000 in one of her bank accounts. She has several bank accounts, given that she got all of those family members and different kids that she collects SSI for.
Okay. Okay. So you've seen bank statements, and in sum total, they would be around $75,000 as of August 2024, give or take.
Yes, sir. Prior to that, but it was probably more like in 2023. She had around 75 or close to it. She showed it a couple of the kids. I think they looked on her phone and seen like, wow, she got close to $80,000. So it wasn't no secret that she had that money.
Okay. And is she a fiduciary for any of her relatives?
A rap payee?
Can be.
Yes, she's the rap payee for her mom, her brother, her sister. Her sister had 3 kids. We basically went from a family of 6 to a family of 19 overnight. And all of them came in and they all was getting like SSI checks in some form, including my 2 kids that's already been there.
19? How
Yeah.
big was this house?
It's only a 4-bedroom, sir. So I mean, we put a lot of strain on our children. She mentioned her mom having mental issues. If she's at work all day, we are at home dealing with them. Her mom would just open the door in the middle of the night and just walk, and leave the door unlocked. And so I had to put, chains on top of the door so that
Oh,
she couldn't get out, So we all had to deal with that while she's at work.
okay. Now, so 19 people at one time lived in that house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Almost hate to do this, but can you name them?
Yes. All right, let's go down the line. We'll start with her family at first that moved
Okay.
in 2021. Her mom, her mom is 79. I'm so sorry. That's the telemarketers. Her brother, I think he's like 40 something, 45. Her sisters think she's like 40 something. She
Okay.
came with 3 other children
Okay.
that all had mental issues. And it was great because my daughter, that's what they're going to school for. So they took on the challenge. It worked out.
Okay.
Her 2 nieces, well, her 3 nieces, we raised it. The oldest one, we had her since she was 9, and I think she's about 25 now, and her name is Alexandra. And then she got 2 sisters. That's
Okay.
the 2 nieces that she told you about.
Yeah.
And those are all of her family members. That's not including my children and
Okay.
Alex.
Okay. Now you said 3 nieces. Does she act as guardian to anybody?
Legally, I don't think her sisters and all of them, they all got like severely problems, and it was kind of best that we took them and whatnot. But I don't think legally she has. It was just her. We seeing that they need help. Her sisters agreed to it. Her sister is up here as well, but she's
Okay.
mostly in Indiana.
Okay. So there was her mom, her brother, her sister, 1, 2, 3. Then the sister's 3 kids, 4, 5, and 6, and then 3 nieces, 7, 8, and 9.
Yes,
And then
and her nephew Alex, but he pays rent.
okay, nephew makes 10, and then you plus Magdalena makes 12, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then are there 7 more people who at one point were living at the home in addition to these 12?
No, there's more. There's more than the 12, sir. You're forgetting my oldest son, Joseph, that's 19. I mean, not my oldest, my youngest, our youngest son, Joseph, 19.
Okay.
We got two other daughters, Aaliyah, who's 20, and Alasia's 20 and Aaliyah's 21. And
All
Aaliyah
right.
just started her bachelorette program in college.
Okay.
So yeah, and then, yeah, them 3. That's all. They're 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 15. Yeah.
Okay, so 15 people?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you seeking spousal support?
Yes.
Okay. What is your prognosis in terms of ability to work in the future?
It's kind of scary, sir, because I'm so it's a lot of uncertainty. I just don't know. I mean, I just went through 3 back surgeries, and I'm still not right. And so I'm talking to the surgeon, and he's saying, we got to go for this major one, and I don't know. I try to do my homework, and I had a brother-in-law that had that surgery, and it seemed like he got worse after that.
Okay.
I think he had like 4 or 5 more surgeries after that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the time is getting late, so I want to try to get the testimony that we need without a lot of extra.
Understood, Your Honor. Okay. So you don't believe that you would be able to work anytime soon, correct, Mr.
No,
Harris?
sir. No, sir. Not the way I am. I tried my last job. Like I said, I tried like in
Okay.
2023.
Okay. Regarding parenting time, where are you living now?
I'm pretty much homeless. I'm staying with my son,
Okay.
but he has
Again, sorry to interrupt, but I thought we had an agreement regarding parenting time.
Oh, that's correct, Your Honor. Okay. Mr. Haring, have you offered any assistance to Magdalena with any of her bills since you stopped living together?
No, sir. I mean, I've been paying for hotels. I've got to throw my son money. If these two are not, I've slept in my car a few times. So
Okay. Are you allowed to contact her legally directly right now?
No, sir. She put out a PPO on me, and I can't go home. I can't do anything.
Okay.
And they only gave me 10 minutes, sir, to pack a bag. They gave me
Okay.
10 minutes to pack a bag and get out of there. I didn't take nothing of importance, but my
All
son.
right. I would like to ask you that. Yes. She's testified that you have all the Social Security cards for the entire family, basically. Do you have any of these Social Security cards?
Absolutely not, sir.
Do you keep financial records in your car?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Did you take mortgage furlough money and tell her that what you would do with it was not her concern?
Absolutely not.
How did you manage money when you were living with her?
I was completely broke. That's why we are here, because I felt as if I'm like, well, we moved your whole family in, and she's steady complaining about our financial troubles. And I'm like, well, everybody in the house is receiving a check in some type of form. We shouldn't have no financial problems. And I'm in the middle of my back ordeal, and
Okay.
you're calling me deadbeats and things of that sort. I just didn't understand.
Okay. To your knowledge, does anybody else pay rent other than the four people discussed? Willie, Andre, Alex, and I forgot. I don't think I have the fourth name.
I was under the assumption that her family would be contributing in some sort.
Okay.
They all live in my house. My kids, we had to pile up 2 or 3 people in my children's room. Right. So everybody was uncomfortable for that. So I just assumed that, yes, they will help out as well. If I'm going through my back issues and whatnot, I'm definitely going through a problem. So we got all of that extra money. She said that she's paying $300 a month for my daughter basketball thing. I mean, since our ordeal, since my PPO, she done went on 3 vacations. She flew down to Tennessee. She flew to Ohio. I mean, I just don't see her having money issues that like she's complaining to have. So I'm just confused.
Okay. So, is it your belief that she does not have financial difficulties?
Absolutely not. She just no, sir. That's why I was so adamant about you guys pulling her bank records, and I said that she got multiple bank records, and I said that I even had proof of her moving money. In September 10th, my daughter was with her. She went took her daughter, her mother and her sister to the bank, and they moved money. All of a sudden, she opened up a bank account. So she was clearly moving money.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay. And to your recollection, did she ever have a Bank of America checking account?
yes, it could have been the rap payees, but she was going there a lot, doing a lot of money transactions. So I know she was definitely had business at Bank of America. I assume I seen the bank cards that said had her name on it. It didn't say rap payee to her mother or sister or brother or the children.
The credit card.
It had her name on it. So
Okay. Was it possible that those are credit cards?
no, sir. No, sir. This ordeal of her maxing out her credit cards, when we got all of that money, she got access to all of that. All of these people live in my house.
Okay.
So I mean, we got access to that money. You're taking care of them. We feed them. You got access to that money if we need it, if we are in financial chaos or whatnot. So I just don't see her side of saying that we got all of this financial issues and problems. I just don't see it. There's money everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Let me just conclude with this question. At what point did you stop participating in the did you stop let me rephrase. Did your back problems prevent you from taking a role in the financial management?
Yes, because I was ever since I was from my first back surgery, sir, in 2020, when I was bedridden, everything financially has switched it to her.
Okay.
I kind of knew what was going on. I kind of, knew because I moved everybody in there.
Yeah.
So I was aware of the monies and whatnot, but I didn't have no control over anything. And by that time, our sons, they weren't there, and it was COVID, and so we were on the furlough. We had a break of not paying our mortgage, and that was like our main bill. So I mean, I don't know. I just don't see all of our financial troubles that she portrays that we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Conroy.
I'm just excusing my client for a minute to get a cord from my secretary. I'm down to 10%, Judge, but we'll plug it in as we go. Good afternoon, Mr. Haring.
How you doing, sir?
We've met before, have we not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was before you had a lawyer, right?
Yes.
Your understanding is that you had access to all this money, correct?
I don't
Objection?
I don't understand.
You indicated that there shouldn't be financial problems because you had access to all this money, correct?
No, sir. I didn't have access to none of that.
Okay.
My wife did.
You indicated that your wife shouldn't have had financial problems because she had access to all the representative payee money, correct?
Yes, sir. That was living in my home.
And that's your belief that she could use that.
I mean,
right?
In somewhat, if we are in a financial burden, if we are, if, like as she says, the bills are getting turned off, she's getting shut off notices. I haven't seen a shut off notice at all since we had the home.
So that money would have come from other people's money is what you're saying, right? The representative payees, those for whom she receives money and puts in the bank, correct?
Yes. And
Okay.
money for my children too gets checks as well.
You mean your children's disability checks? Is that what you mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And those are also representative payee accounts, correct?
Yes.
So that's not money that belongs to your wife or you. You would agree with that?
I agree. Other than us being family, I just figured that we were in financial needs. It's just a question. Mom, can I borrow some money? Brother, can I borrow some money? They're in my home, our house. So I don't know. Am I wrong for seeing it like that? I don't.
Oh, it's not for me to tell you right or wrong. I'm Mr. Haring, and I'm not trying to do that. I'm just asking your understanding. It was at some point from 2018 forward, you did receive $400 per month rent from 4 different young men, your boys and your nephew, correct?
And I made sure the mortgage got paid, sir. We didn't go on our furlough until 2021. And after that, that's when my wife took over.
Okay, and you're saying that she never told you, we don't need the furlough, I'm working extra.
No, sir, absolutely not.
She
Why would I
agreed to
want her? I wouldn't even want her to work extra hours and more and whatnot. If the furlough to me was a no-brainer for our family that was in the situation that we was in. I'm a provider and I'm down and out with my back. Yeah, that's why I thought that was a no-brainer. She did too at the time because we both agreed to it.
Is you're saying that she agreed to it, she signed it, right?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't bring those documents for the furlough with you showing her signature on it, did you?
No, sir.
You
But I
didn't
would
go
assume
about,
it has
no,
to
that's
be on
okay.
it.
You didn't go about also with your lawyers, you haven't gone about trying to get a hold of any of the bank statements that you say exist, despite us giving you, I think, several years worth of several different accounts of bank statements. You haven't found anything in those bank statements reflecting 75 to 80 grand, have you?
I don't think that they were looking at. I tried to get them to look for like wire transfers, money transfers,
You don't think bank
large
statements
sums of money being transferred,
would reflect that?
but they would have to go back to, I mean, we've been going through this divorce for about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. So that's plenty enough time to move things around. Like I said, I wouldn't even say that if my daughter wouldn't say that. I saw her. She went straight to
Okay,
the.
I'm gonna object based on hearsay and his daughter.
Also saying you can't talk about what somebody else said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said that on the Cadillac that you purchased, you'd agree it was $15,000?
Absolutely not. I can show you. My Cadillac has a what they called a salvage title. That car was wrecked. It was put together. It was pieced back together. I bought that car for a little bit under $3,000.
Did you bring any paperwork reflecting that? That's okay.
I
We
mean,
don't have any here, correct?
we can go to the title. I mean, I think the information was on my title. I had to get my tags and everything. I had to tell them what I bought the car for. I didn't know that I needed to bring that or have that, sir, to be honest.
Well, okay. I'm just asking if you did.
If I-
And if you don't have it, you don't have it. That's okay. But you don't also have any bank accounts reflecting balances or major movements by wire or other transaction wise showing anything close to 75 or 80 grand, correct? No bank statements, no bank transaction details. Is that right?
I don't.
Okay. It's your testimony that when you receive that rent from the boys, it only lasted how long? Until you're back? gave out or you had first surgery?
I don't understand your question, sir.
The $400 a month in rent that you began charging in 2018 to
Yes.
4 boys. You are saying that that only lasted until you had your back problem?
Yes, and that that lasted, yeah. Because after that, I couldn't move. So
Well, isn't it true that some stayed longer than others? And
21, Andre did.
Andre left in 2021. Alex is still there. And the other 2 boys left in 22 and 23. Were they paying rent up until they left?
I think she's incorrect on that, sir. My boys left out. Think about it. If we got 15, that's just with her family and our family. Now, if you bring in my oldest boys, that's Jermaine, that's Willie, that's Andre, that's 3 more boys that's on top of that. Where would they even be? Them boys were
Well,
gone.
let me ask you this.
They
Why
left.
should we be surprised if there'd be 19 when you had 15? Why would that be
Yeah,
surprising?
yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Okay.
But
Um,
my older boys were more ready to leave the nest. They just, my only thing was then was to do it the right way, so you can walk out into your own place and things of that sort. So, but they were already gone, sir. There was no
Okay.
rent given to me past 2020.
how much have you received in back pay from Social Security?
Uh,
$2,500 to start, right? When you got your first back paycheck, not your
No.
monthly, but your back paycheck.
Yes, the on the back page, yes, I received it 20, I think it was 20,000.
20,000. Okay. And is there still some due and owing?
No, I received it 2. I got 20,000, and then like 6 months, a year later, I got it 17. I think it was 18,000.
So it's just shy of 40,000, somewhere around $38,000 in back pay that you've already received.
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing else.
Mr. Browning?
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, you were asked if, can you elaborate further about this Cadillac that was, how did you put it? Salvage?
Yes, sir. Meaning it don't have a real title. Right now I can't even sell that car. I would have to take it to like a junkyard, because people won't buy it. It's a salvage title. That title says this car has been not only wrecked, it's been totaled. The insurance company totaled it. That's why you can't get a real title.
Okay.
You buy them cheap and you sell them really real cheaper.
All right. So it's a 2016 Cadillac?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you buy that after your back was hurt?
No, before.
Was your wife aware that it was a salvage title?
No, I'm sure I told her, but
Okay.
like many other things, she's not believing it.
I see. How does the car present? Does it look like it's been totaled?
Yes, it got Bondo work all over it. I just had an accident, and you can see all the Bondo flaking off. It wasn't even that hard of an accident, but Bondo kind of breaks like glass. So
Okay.
that entire side is bondoed. My entire front is bondoed. My entire back is bondoed. I hit a deer and I got into a little fender bender. That's how I knew I didn't have insurance. My wife, took me off of my insurance plan, so I couldn't even get it fixed. I'm kind of responsible for that accident because
Okay.
I didn't have insurance. I thought I had insurance. I had insurance for the past 15 years.
Uh-huh.
Since we're going through this here, I wasn't aware that she was allowed to take me off of my insurance like that, even without me even knowing it. But
Okay. Now about the mortgage furlough, you didn't bring that documentation today, but let me ask you this about the mortgage that you held on your home. Okay. And was it a mortgage, a land contract, what?
no, it was a mortgage.
And who was the mortgage through?
It started off through Wells. Was it Wells Fargo?
Okay, Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, yes.
Okay. And how did you receive the furlough online or in person at a Wells Fargo branch?
I believe they contacted us. This was like shortly after the pandemic, but
Okay.
the pandemic kind of stretched out. But after that main year,
Yeah.
they called us and said, I think they called or sent a letter, but they brought it to our attention that, hey, it's COVID. We got this program out here. If you are renting or if you got a mortgage, we can help you out. So yeah.
Okay. So you and your wife were co-signers on the mortgage, were
Yes.
you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so would it be possible for you to get a furlough without her knowledge?
Absolutely not. I mean, it never been brought to my attention, I guess, but every time they, like to sign it, they ask for both signatures. To while we were talking, me and her used to talk to them because they used to tell us, like, one person would call and say, no, it's a program and you guys don't got to.
I'm going to interject because we're getting into hearsay here, and I'll just
Okay.
let everybody know we've only got about 20 minutes more.
Okay. But to summarize, Jermaine, was there a process that required Magdalena's participation?
In the furlough?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now,
And sir, can I say something real quick? She said something
no.
about the house being refied. I never refied the house.
Okay. I don't actually recall that.
Oh, okay.
Now regarding the
I'll
rent.
just say for the record, it was modification, which is a different thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Thank you for that.
Okay. And okay. Now regarding the rent, you were asked if the rent stopped when you hurt your back. Did they cease paying rent at the same time that you hurt your back? Willie, Andre, Alex, and I still don't know the fourth person's name.
They were out of the house. They weren't even living there. Jermaine Jr. was not living there. Andre was not living there. Willie moved to Texas and then he came back. So maybe Willie was probably there, and he was, no, sir. He was definitely not paying me no rent, no nothing. I was not in control of anything at that point. Absolutely nothing. My wife did anything financial. If Willie paid rent, he paid it to her. If Alex paid rent, he had to pay it to her, or he just didn't pay it. None one of them came to me with any monies.
Okay. So after you hurt your back, did you ever resume taking an active role in the family finances?
No, sir.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Conroy, any follow-up?
One moment, Judge. Mr. Haring, so you're testifying that you didn't simply call the bank and were able to get onto that furlough with information given to them over the phone. That's not what happened?
Are you saying that
Yeah.
I did I call the bank myself?
Yes.
No, sir. No, sir. The bank called us. I believe it was Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo called us. Well, they
So
sent the
Wells-
letter.
Because you were behind, or just to say, hey, we're offering you a furlough?
Absolutely, sir. That's what it was all about. It was after COVID. They were helping like renters. They were helping homeowners, and we needed it, sir. We needed that,
So
and that's what I'm saying. We all of that money, that we saved. Who did that money go to? Because we got $80,000 extra that's on the back end of our mortgage now. So we saved the $80,000 in mortgage payments. So where is that?
So you believe that the furlough does not have to be repaid?
No, it absolutely does.
Right. But you're saying that you never received cash from your wife to bring and pay the mortgage with?
Not after 2020.
So that could have happened in 2021.
No, sir,
Objection.
because that was the year of COVID. We weren't paying. We weren't paying our mortgage.
No, Judge, I don't think I have any more questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Browning, any follow-up?
Just, so Mr. Haring, you've testified that the furlough amounts are on the back end of the mortgage now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is your understanding of how much money is owed on the mortgage?
The last statement I received, I have it here. I think we were down to like 157, 160 that we owed on the house. And then there's an extra 80,000. That brings it up to like 260, 265, 268, somewhere around there.
And the 80,000 is furloughed money?
Yes. That's money that we didn't pay mortgage for ever since 2020, 21, 22,
Let me
20.
just interject, this really isn't relevant. If the house is going to be sold, what's owed is what's owed.
Okay, Your Honor. Thank you. No further questions.
All
No
right,
further questions.
all right. And any further evidence, Mr. Browning?
No, Your Honor.
All right, statements, Mr. Conroy.
There's not enough to go around, Judge. I don't know how my client would be able to get into her pocket and start paying for alimony. I just don't know. She's got a 9th grade education. She's been with Walmart for 22 years and she makes $22 an hour. 22.23 or 23.22, pardon me, per hour. And the raises that they get are typically 2%. So it's not like her income's going anywhere significantly. It's just not enough to go around, Judge. I mean, I get that you don't have all the evidence you need, and you're simply gonna have to go on credibility, but I would say to you that my client has been the one that's tried to make this all work. They're in a little bit of hot water financially, but selling the house should get them at least a fresh start. We're asking the court to allow, or to, if you're going to, we're asking you to credit my client with half of the $14,000 she says she gave to Mr. Haring for the mortgage payments. credit her for the $15,000 she testified to that he withdrew for the vehicle and paid for. And then Social Security, he's testified $37,000 or $38,000 of income that he received, which is back pay for the time he was from onset until payoff of back pay. And in that light, the court could consider, if it were to consider alimony, an even, a wash. I know the numbers may not be exact, but there's no money in numbers to go around. Mr. doesn't have money to pay child support. We get that. The court's ordered it. We're not going to oppose that order, but we're willing to withdraw a request for it as long as other similar withdrawals are made by the defendant in this case to let these people go on their way. We don't believe that Mr. Haring wants a divorce. He's had people calling my client for the last month asking her to stick with them.
Objection.
So in that,
Mr. Conroy, that was not in evidence.
oh, you're right. I'm sorry, Judge. I'm sorry. So that being said, Judge, that not being said, I apologize. There's not enough to go around. I don't know how anybody's going to pay anything to the other. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Browning.
Thank you. Regarding some of these amounts, Mr. Conroy has pointed out that sometimes my client has lacked the evidence for the things that he believes. And I think the same is true of any evidence that she gave him $14,000 to pay the mortgage, or that there was $15,000 withdrawn for this 2019 Cadillac. My client testified that it was a salvage vehicle. He didn't bring his client back to rebut that or present any evidence that the car is anything more than a salvage vehicle. So I think that those numbers are inappropriate to take and credit against my client. My client has requested half of her 401k, and
I believe you had a stipulation on the record to that.
yes, well, okay, just making sure I include it in this. And we've also stipulated that we would sell the house and divide the proceeds. And then, so my client denies that he exercised any financial control over this marriage, especially after 2020, when he, as was not contradicted by anybody, became more immobilized than he is today. He's recovered a little bit, but in 2020, he was not in good shape, maybe even earlier, as to when his back started to become unusable and he was unable to work any further. My client does not have the evidence of these $80,000 amounts. It is unfortunate that that is the case, but he does believe that something doesn't add up, because there is $80,000 still on this mortgage that wouldn't have otherwise been there without the furlough, yet the money doesn't seem to appear anywhere. So in conclusion, Your Honor, those are our requests. And we've already stipulated regarding child custody and parenting time, I believe. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm not going to comment on all of the evidence. I don't have to. But I will start by saying that, unfortunately, this is what happens when people hoard cash, essentially, and then they can't prove what happened to the cash. That's one reason we use banks and other financial institutions, so there's a trail. I frankly don't know who to believe about what in any of this. And I think Mr. Browning had a point in saying that neither party has been able to prove, or at least convince this court about any of these transactions, or about any money that's been moved or hidden, or money taken and purchasing to use for purchasing a car. This is what happens when we don't have paper trails. So I'm not going to consider any of that. And so as far as the court is concerned, we have the stipulations of the parties that were put on the record at the beginning of this hearing this afternoon, this trial. And the only remaining issue really was spousal support. the court finds that the defendant has not proven a case for spousal support under the factors. There's 12 separate factors for the court to consider. First of all, many of the allegations regarding income involve third parties for whom Ms. Haring is the representative payee. That is not her money. In fact, if she were to use it for her own use, she would be guilty of a federal crime. So the court will not attribute that money to her. And that includes the money for the children of the parties as well. And I can take judicial notice that those monies are not sufficient to cover all of the needs of a person, a disabled person. It helps with some, but it doesn't cover everything. The amounts they're just not that large. And Mr. Haring is a perfect example of that. This is a longer term marriage of 18 years, so that would weigh in favor of spousal support. However, the main objective of alimony or spousal support is to balance the incomes and needs of the parties in such a way as not to impoverish either party. And frankly, Mr. Conroy, I think, said it well, there's not enough money to go around here. The court has considered Ms. Haring's budget, finds it absolutely within the parameters of what is reasonable in this current economy. It doesn't appear to have been inflated or to include the expenses of anybody else besides other than her and the minor child at the parties. Ms. Haring is able to work. However, her income is rather limited. Even after 22 years with Walmart, she's never going to make a lot of money, at least not in the situation that she's in at this time, with a 9th grade education and all of that. So that weighs against spousal support. Mr. Haring is not able to work. The parties are going to split the home, and there is some equity based at least on the limited information the court's been provided. So each of the parties is going to receive that. Mr. Haring did testify that he received almost $40,000 in back Social Security income. And so I can't find that he's impoverished at the moment. The age of the parties, my understanding is that both of the parties are in middle age. But again, given their backgrounds, their history, their employment history, their educational history, they're not likely to really move out of the situation they're currently in. Mr. Haring definitely has needs. However, he also is one person, as opposed to Ms. Haring, who has a responsibility for, at the very least, the party's minor child, and all these additional people also that she has taken responsibility for, including 2 children that she's guardian of. Let's see. So the court could not find that spousal support is appropriate in this case. By the same token, even though the Michigan child support formula would call for a small amount of child support from Mr. Haring to Ms. Haring, the court will find that that is not equitable given the situation, the relative situations of the parties, based on all the evidence that I've heard today. So will not award any child support either. The court finds the proofs are sufficient and the judgment may enter upon proper presentation to the court. Is there anything further?
Nothing, Judge, from the plaintiff. We will prepare a judgment and submit it to counsel.
All right, and if you would submit that electronically to Ms. Van Oler after you have both signatures, the court will enter it as a judgment.
Thank you, Judge McMahon.
All right, thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.